This is Pastor Troy. I hope you're doing well. We are wrapping up season 2, but you know what that means? The best of season 2. Here it comes. It's coming right at you in just a minute, but don't worry. We're in the studio. We're getting ready. We're getting things lined up, and very soon we'll be unveiling season 3 of On the Dock. In the meantime, you can go back, watch season 1. Check it out. It is fantastic. It's not outdated. Go catch it. And now we're in season 2, and get ready for this best of season 2 episode. And you're on the dock with Pastor Troy. We're in the studio again, and you know there's trouble coming. Trouble for the devil. He's going to be on the run today. You found us at onthedock.org. You found us. We got lots of platforms, lots of ways to listen to us. And guys, I'm just going to tell you a secret right off the top. We normally do 2 or 3 of these in a day. We've got Dustin in here to do kind of the wrap-up third on a different day. We never just do one, so I can unload everything today. This is going to be a great session.
Game on.
Game on like Donkey Kong.
All right.
We never just do one in a day, so this is so cool. Normally we do like 3 to 6, and you're like, oh, man. But we're ready to go. OnTheDock.org every Tuesday and Thursday. Find those releases. They're going to be great ones out there. We're all about conversations to propel your faith out of the shallows and into the deep. Today, you're going to get turbocharged out of the shallow, and you're going to be so far in the deep. Oh, you better take GPS with you. You better have God with you. We have 8 different platforms, but we want you to go to YouTube, Spotify, iTunes first and foremost. Then go to Google Play. Don't go to Facebook if you don't have to. If you do, we're not mad at you, but they are not happy with us. Roku, Rumble, SermonNet are also great as well. We got in trouble. Dustin, we got in trouble with Facebook on Wednesday night. We have Wednesday night class. Wednesday night, we're just teaching the Bible. I'm almost done. We have great input from our local and our online people. They're asking questions. One of our online people was asking a question about the Lord to our spiritual greeter, and she was just answering the question spiritually. And all of a sudden, Facebook, she's in the men on our Facebook. They come up and they locked her out. You're now locked out from comments because of your conversation. Now, don't worry. The pastor got locked out back at Christmas because I told somebody in the feed, Merry Christmas. They locked me out for it. They didn't lock me out for it once. They did it. I got so frustrated. I reposted it, forwarded it again. They locked me out a second time. I did it a third time just to make them angry. And she stays in lockout prison. So she said, but we don't really know what we did, but Facebook, use Facebook if you have to, but they may not let you comment. So social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter. Isn't that crazy?
That is
It was
bizarre.
nothing controversial. I promise you. I wasn't talking about anything like I normally would to get us in trouble. They just didn't want her to. I mean, sometimes I instigate them. Subscribe, hit like, notify, comments, and all those kind of things. And we'd love to have you as a Patreon partner or sponsor. 4 levels of partnership, 3 levels of sponsorship. Go read about it and you find out about it. Go to onthedock.org. It will link you everywhere, tell you about how to get to my Patreon as well, and info at onthedock.org. And we have our own embedded viewer. If you don't want to watch any of those people, just go watch it there. We've got our own. It's great stuff here. We're in the studio here. I'm going to give you the first one. Mother Beth, she's not at the table. She's on the couch behind me. We don't have a camera on her, but she can scream anytime she wants to, and she can ask questions. Can you hear? Go ahead and holler, Beth. I think I can hear you there. Yeah. Hi, honey. We got Ben on the lead to my right, my co-host today with me as well. And in the studio, we got Lucas Winkler over there. Lucas, do you have a camera today? Yeah, Lucas got. Oh, hey, Lucas, you got the house lights on.
An attractive man.
We're working. We're good. Okay, gotcha. All right, good. We got new lights, but we did a whole episode that day without the house lights on and these lights on. So,
two people, so it's easy to light.
So it's easier. So we're getting more. We're liking it. I mean, when he goes to just the inside lights, I mean, I look a lot more handsome.
With these on, the table isn't all blown out in the image.
Yeah, but see, it's yellower now. When he turns that off, this doesn't get yellow anymore. But I have better color. I look so white in the Colossians series. I'm like I'm like a vampire, and I don't believe in vampires.
You're
but
Italian.
I'm Italian. I should be like a tan, olive and
red.
But my problem is I'm Northern Italian. I'm from the Alps, the Italian Alps, and we're kind of all of our family went over the hill to Switzerland to pick up, people. And so we picked up some of the blonde hair. We picked up some, so, if you're Italian, you went over the hill, brought back your bride, So I got a little bit of the Alps in me. Yodel-a-hee-hoo. That's what happened with our family. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, we're back here in our Worship Leaders of Southern Illinois series, a super series, season 2 on the Doc Special, and we've got in the studio for part 3 of this sub-series and part 17 in the Worship Leader series, Dustin Keele from Cornerstone Church. Welcome, Dustin.
Thanks for having me.
Dustin, we got Chesney back. Chesney, welcome back.
Hello.
I should have got a picture for you. I had time to produce it, and I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry. Can we get a close-up with Chesney? Do you got a picture of Chesney?
No.
Give the live.
Zoom in.
Do you have the live version of her?
The live version.
She's here.
Yeah.
There she is. There she is. Yeah. I give you Mother Beth's photo unless you use Mother Beth's photo, but the resemblance isn't close. Yeah.
It's a little different.
Yeah. Production cost here. Dustin hails from Cornerstone Church. Most of you guys, Cornerstone Church. It's a really tiny, small family church, about the size, holds about 30 people. That's in the front entrance. This is the former, you guys know Walton Wabe is your address. That should answer the question right there. But you guys have taken over the street. They're at Cornerstone Church, one of the most magnificent churches in our community. And you can see the information there, email, Facebook. Go check them out. And their pastors, Michael and Carol Ann Nave, great people, great church, great leadership. And we're glad to have you guys back in the studio. So thanks for coming. You guys remember when we did the first part, let me show these great pictures of you again, Dustin, because they may not. Oh my goodness, that's a great one. Powerful worship there. Gosh, Chesney, is that you in the back?
That's me.
Yeah. See, I have a picture of you. That's Chesney in the back. Yeah,
hey.
I got you. I didn't even catch that last time.
Hey, she works at Crown Brew. Anyways.
She does.
Does she?
She does, yes.
Which one?
That's JC.
Yeah,
Really.
Yeah, JC works at. Yeah.
I love her.
She's the
Well, I
best.
didn't catch that.
We got to get JC in here now.
Yeah.
She does work. She takes good care of me. Yeah. Well, when we do the Crown Brew series, we'll bring her in. All right, we're going to do that. And then you now this is your real life wife.
That's my real life wife.
Yeah. People sometimes say, well, because Chesney's his
IRL.
assistant, they get all confused now. So I have to tell people, no. But he got a great wife, great shot. Gosh. And we all know you went to Hollywood.
I did.
Good.
Back in the day.
All great stuff. Go back and watch episode 1 and 2. You'll learn all about that. But we're going to get into this. We're in our walk away episode. We're going to get to the big questions, the hard questions. And Chesney, we all know you've been the brains of this operation for the first 2 episodes. So I've been writing down stuff. I write down more stuff than I write down about Dustin. Although Dustin's wise because he's trained you well. So
oh man,
he told me the other day that he takes credit for everything you've said so far.
I've learned a lot from him.
You're his Padawan.
that's how this works.
That's how it works. All right, now I just threw Dustin under the bus. So, all right, here we go. Ready for the first question? You have 60 seconds to answer this question. No, we don't have time. We don't have
Start
time.
the timer.
We don't have a timer.
There's
though.
no timer,
We don't
so-
even have the timer there today. I have one on my screen, and we're doing
It'll be a
really
3-hour episode.
3-hour tour. What are you?
3-hour
We're talking about
To be
worship.
clear, we have to lead a service.
Yeah.
Oh, darn! Gosh. Okay, good. All right. Are y'all having your service on Good Friday? Are you still doing? Are you doing? You're just doing the one big service.
We're doing the one big one.
Yeah.
Yep.
We just dated this episode, but that's okay. You got the stadium.
Yeah.
You're at the
crazy.
stadium. That is cool. I'm really proud of that. That's a really cool deal. So that'll be cool. We may have to come too. Do we bring a bat and glove?
Yes. That's required.
Do you shoot the Easter eggs out of the guns? You know how they do the hot dogs, the hot dog gun?
I've never seen a hot
Hot
dog
dog
gun.
You don't know a hot dog gun?
I thought they were just
They have
t-shirts.
they
Me
have
too.
one. They have one there sitting around. I bet they left it. It's a CO2 gun. It's a massive thing on the end.
They put food
shoot
in
They
it.
put the hot dogs in it. They put T-shirts in it, and
I've
they
seen
shoot them out to the crowd.
Seems not
you
sanitary.
You need to have that during worship and shoot stuff out.
Wow.
Okay.
It would change.
We could bring a potato gun.
Don't use potatoes
Ow.
because that can hurt
Painful.
some people. Yeah. But you can shoot stuff out. You could shoot like you get like
goodness.
an on the dock mug. We'll give you some on the dock mugs.
Yep.
We would wrap. We'd have to
Ceramic.
Bubble, we'd have to bubble wrap them first. They might not make it. Surely you guys got some products you could shoot out, man. We could shoot something out. I mean, you need to
You
think
would
about
think
it.
of that.
Ballpoint
No.
pens.
If I were doing what y'all were doing, I would do that.
and
So.
other safe items.
Caps off. Yeah.
I want to be clear about something too. Chesney is not. She's not my assistant per se.
Oh, she's assistant worship leader.
Director.
Director.
Yes.
That's a bigger word.
She does lots. She's.
So really,
boss.
she keeps everything running. Basically, is what you're
Oh
saying.
my gosh, no doubt about
Well,
it.
now I'm going to ask this question to her
Ask her.
because it sounds like she does it. So each week, you guys, pastors do this, worship people do this, directors do this. Every week, it's like Groundhog Day for us.
Okay. Yeah.
It's Groundhog Day. You have Sunday. It's over. You're done for the second one. How long do you breathe after that? Do you go get some sushi in the parking lot first, or you choose the store? Do you go eat? Do you do your food? Do you relax? Do you walk your dog? Do you take Monday off? When do you go, oh my gosh, I've only got 7 days, 6 days. For you guys on Sunday, you've only got a few more days because you got Friday. When does panic hit you? And you realize I've got to do this again in the name of Jesus.
I will just say I really love my job, and it does. I mean, there are times it
I love my job too, but I go, oh my gosh, it's Tuesday. I got to start.
Yes, no. I feel that. There are days where it's like, okay, more cord charts, more attached.
Did you ever see the show 24? It was hot. You know 24.
Yeah.
They'd start that thing, and the thing would click, the dink, dink, dink. I hear the dink start. I don't hear it till like Monday night.
Okay.
Because I take Mondays off generally. And that didn't last week. I was bad. But somewhere it just starts running again. I think, oh my gosh, I got to get ready. Mm-hmm. So when does that, when do you go from, I finish the service to you hear the chink, dink, dink, dink?
So we take Monday off, and because we're there Wednesday night, Friday night, Sunday morning. That's about 8 hours.
You deserve Monday off.
So we take Monday off, yeah. And I don't know. I don't feel like I have that anxiety of like, oh, I have to do it again, you know. There are days that are like that, but I don't feel like it's a weekly thing for me. I don't know.
We're going to take your blood after this, and we're all going to dope off it. Because that's great, though. So she basically is calm, cool, and collective. You're right.
No,
yeah.
She's got things. I mean, she's a director. She's calm.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you flip a gear?
I don't either. And I have to tell you, it's a lot to do with things that people like her can contribute to my life. It's so the system is running so smoothly, and the preparation is there that we don't have to worry.
The streams just come together for you and it pulls.
It's true. Yeah. So we have our services planned out far enough in advance that we are able to get all the resources plugged in far enough in advance that it's not stressful. Now, if there's like a special event, something that like upsets the rhythm,
it kind of throws it off. That really gets you, doesn't it? Like,
that can for sure.
Yeah, like you get somebody's got a wedding on Thursday and they're Friday in there, and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, we got to flip the. When we have a wedding, it just destroys our platform. We love you, all of you that have to do weddings here. We love you. We're not against you, but every bride goes, "Can we move the drums?"
Yes, right, that kind of thing.
And they have no idea what that requires, right?
Well, now it's on wheels.
It's on wheels now. We can roll it. We can roll it. Yeah. Yeah. We put ours on a rolling system. That is good. That's good. That's a good move. But you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And we love everybody. You have a funeral, and we're honored to do anybody's funeral, but you throw that extra piece in there. Now you got to do stuff for that. That's a challenge. What about you? Ben, do you?
Yeah, usually it's the Saturday night right before Sunday service.
You don't panic till Saturday night. Yeah.
I'm like, I got to pick songs still.
Golly.
No, it's not that bad, but
I feel the weight of it. I mean, I'm always excited for the next service because I love what God's doing in our midst. But for the load to come off for a minute and then the load to come back on, for me, that's kind of Monday. And then Tuesday morning, I'm starting to think about it.
You carry an uncommon amount of responsibility.
But you do too. You got like 3,000 worship services at your church.
Oh, that's not true at all. That's not true at all.
Just the 3.
Yeah, but that's 3,000. I mean, you guys got a lot of seats. So, I mean, that's a huge responsibility in leadership, and you've got a huge, great team, and you guys are doing great ministry. So I don't think some people handle that differently than others, and you guys handle it. Lucas, you're not Mike, but when do you start panicking?
I don't really panic anymore.
No, you don't. He doesn't panic.
Yeah.
I don't
there's
panic.
No sense in it.
I used to, but I don't anymore.
Let me be honest. I don't panic for these guys at all, to be honest with you.
Sure.
It's more like, well, I have my game on.
Right.
Do I have the right word?
Even if everything else falls apart, we can just use an acoustic guitar.
Now, the two of us, we work well enough together that everything, my computer could blow up and I don't have my notes and they're shredded, and the two of us could work together.
Yeah.
We'd probably do better.
Sure. You as the one who's giving the message, you kind of start from scratch every week.
Every week.
We don't do that so much.
Even in a series,
we're not
you're a little bit
6 songs every week.
Like I'm doing Micah right now. I just finished Micah 4 and 5. I got to take on chapter 6 this week, and honestly, it's this week. I haven't looked at it yet. I did it, my pre-study on it. I have notes on it, but I haven't seen it since about 3 months ago. I date my series, I do a bunch of notes, then I come back and I finish the process. So
Right.
I'm hoping I can get back to where I was 3 months ago, sitting in Branson in a hotel, in my condo,
Yeah.
kind of working that out.
Yeah.
And I hope I can. But the thing is, a lot's happened to me since.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to integrate some of that in. And I may get in and go, man, I don't feel this. And a lot of times I'll tell Beth, I didn't feel none of this. It's going to be terrible tomorrow. I wouldn't come if I was you. And then what's crazy is I get in the worship service, he puts the right kind of music on, and all of a sudden, all that comes back together. And I realize God was not stupid 3 months ago. He knew exactly what we needed. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I walk out. She goes, that was really good. I said, well, it wasn't me. That's for sure. You know, so that's mine every week is, am I on the right path with God? You know, am I bringing the right stuff?
Can I share something
Sure,
personally?
please.
Like, I feel like the Lord has done a huge, just mental shift for me, and Dustin has been just a huge part of this and helping me think this way. Is like, I think he asked me one time, like I was freaking out, and I'm like, what are we gonna do about this and this? And one of those, like something last minute had happened, and we were just running crazy. And he was like, "What is the worst case scenario that you can think of?" You know, and it's like a vocalist is sick, or we lost somebody else, or whatever, and it's like, okay, we won't have a vocalist. He's like, okay. I'm like, that's it. That's the worst case scenario. You know,
That's
so
a
it's
really
like,
good way to look at it.
Right. So it's like, if the worst case scenario happens, what is the worst thing like that's going to happen? And also, do you trust that like the Lord can work through that? And like that didn't throw him off. It didn't take him by surprise. And so there's no need to
Just
be
a
like
confidence
frantic, you
in
know?
that God's in control.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And trusting him. So
In the end, I get to that every week. By the time I show up here, I get to that. But sometimes you have to work past your own head.
It's a process.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
For
your head gets in the
sure.
way. And I also never want to be embarrassed that I didn't prepare well enough. That I am ashamed before the Lord. That
That's right.
I waited
Oh,
too
I
long
get
in the
it.
week. I really wish I'd already looked at Micah 6 a little more. But I've had a very good week, and we've been producing other stuff.
Yes.
And so I just have to pray tomorrow the Lord is gentle with me. You know,
Yeah. Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you know what I mean.
I
And
get
you had
that.
this somebody in the hospital, somebody had a bypass this week, and you just go and do that. But the Lord knows that too.
He does.
He does know that. So a little deeper in this, what would be, you know, as you guys think about your biggest challenges week to week, getting ready, whether it be music prep, rehearsal, selecting your team, your audio visual for that week. What are your biggest challenges? Maybe it's your AV guys, your geeks like, I don't know, Lucas. I mean, you may have problems with your geeks in the back. Maybe they're always saying, well, we need to work on this. We need to do white noise. Or what are your biggest challenges week to week?
It's pink noise.
Is it pink noise?
I do prefer pink noise.
Chartreuse noise.
What's your biggest
Second of all.
What's your biggest challenge as you set up? You know, what are the ones that's kind of a little bit more of a moving target for you? The ones you got to really take on. Where's your problem? Just tell us who the problem is there. I want to hear about it.
Can we use names? Like,
Now,
just air it
don't-
all out.
you can use initials, Mr. JT, you know, or something like that. Or
No, I'm kidding.
No, the guy that has a frog face, that guy, you know.
Oh my god.
Yeah, frog face.
Yeah, frog face.
Oh, we
frog
know.
face.
Yeah.
Hey, you're going to understand why I'm thinking frog face in a minute when I get to the last question. Frog's on my mind.
Oh, is it?
Now you're going to wonder.
That's
how did-
foreshadowing.
Oh yeah, you're going to wonder why is a frog on his mind.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just.
A frog will be
stew in the
integrated into
mystery.
this show, but he will remain hidden.
Okay.
A frog will be
because
integrated.
it's on the dock.
This is deep.
It's on the dock. On the dock's a dangerous place. Something pops up out of the water. You never know.
Old Greg.
You asked that question about what's the biggest weekly challenge, and there were two things that come to mind. One of them is about the team, and the other one is more personal. So the team oriented one has to do with the fact that not every member of our team operates at the same level.
That's a good point.
There's a threshold that they have to meet to serve, but beyond that, not everybody is at the same level of skill, and so
Vocally, musically,
Across the board.
maturity, age-wise. Well, yeah. Right.
yeah. So when it
And you're not being critical. It's just a reality.
yeah,
that
it's
we're
just a
all-
reality.
Yeah.
Every Christian's different. Everybody's different in their development, right?
Yep. And we're upfront about that too, and saying like, hey, we're all on a journey. We're at different places on the journey. That's all right. Where you are is fine, as long as you're still journeying forward.
You want to see steps
Yeah.
forward and not a lot of steps back.
Yeah. So like I still take regular voice lessons. We're all still honing, right? Because it's our responsibility to invest. So
I see these guys practicing all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize worship leaders don't just show up and play. They're practicing, they're learning stuff, they're upgrading their equipment, they're doing checks, they're pushing themselves.
Yeah.
that's faithfulness.
That's faithfulness.
So we look at the roster for the week and we say, who is maybe a little weaker? on this week, and who needs a bit more attention in our band leading prep. So going into rehearsal, who might need a little more support, and
So developmental coaching would be a part of your each week. You're strategizing. That may look different depending on who's on the makeup, what song it is, what challenges there are. That's very good.
Yeah, I mean, so somebody is tasked to be the MD, the musical director for each rehearsal. Used to always be me. Now it's not. Now we have a team of 4 that we divide that between.
That's great.
And they know that they're supposed to take notes on every song, know everybody's parts. Going into rehearsal, they know if there's somebody that needs a bit more support, they gotta write down a bit more detail for that person,
Gotcha.
so they can be there for them when they need.
That's very good.
The other thing is more personal. Ben, I'm sure this resonates with you. You know that you can pass the muster probably without trying too hard. You develop your skill to a point where you could kind of phone it in and nobody would really complain.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is one of the things that I wrestle with sometimes. I know that vocally, I know that generally when it comes to facilitating a service, I can just sort of skate and nobody will be the wiser.
Totally.
And so for me, it's like the thing that you shared before the Lord, when I put my head on my pillow, have I really been faithful?
Yeah.
To give my best today.
Yes. Did I prepare well?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
That's good.
I think that's what makes effective ministry, whether you're a worship pastor, youth pastor, children's pastor, lead pastor, is realizing who we work for. We work for the Lord. And we want to do things as the Lord.
A guy who I'm really, really close to, we were having a conversation sometime last year, but he told me something that just stuck with me. And he said the difference between people who are known as great people and people who are known as gifted people is because you can just skate by on your gifting, kind of like you're talking about your talent. He said, great people are just gifted people who apply discipline. And I'm like, gosh, I need some discipline in my life. It's like all these things you're talking about is really just applying discipline to what God's given you to really see it through to its fullest potential,
Yeah, and I'm not good at that either.
I'm terrible.
Because, man, I need so much help to do that. One of the things that helps me be disciplined is if there's a system. Like I did well in school because I knew this was due on this date, this was due on this date. There was a schedule. Somebody was telling me when to do what, and I could do that.
Yeah.
But without that, when it's just like a vacuum, I guess I could do this voice lesson. I guess I could practice now, or I could do it in 2 weeks or whatever. It just sort of all gets mushy. But people like Chesney and Nathan, who was my boss, they think organizationally, they think structure, they think system, and they gave me the scaffold. And that's really been helpful.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to. This is a outside the box question because we're only shooting one episode, and I can ask crazy things. As a pastor, I mean, I'm coming up on my 35th year of being a pastor. I've been preaching as a lead pastor all that time. Now I was an associate a couple times, but I would associate one church, but have my own smaller church. So I've always been a lead pastor, at least of something attached to it from the beginning. And I mean, I have every message I've written. I bought a computer first when I forgot my first dollar. I bought a computer. Some of them I have to go back and find in like old versions, like Word Perfect, And I've got and I didn't start using PowerPoints till probably 15, 20 years ago, but I did. So I have every message I ever wrote. And when I started in Energy and Culp, I preached on Sunday night, Wednesday. I had messages for all three. So I was doing three a week. And that's 150 a year. I'd be gone a couple of weeks, but I was hitting 150. Then you add in Good Friday and you add in Easter Sunday and you add in, not Easter Sunday, but like Monday, Thursday, get a few other things in there. I was doing 150 sermons a year. Messages a year. Now I'm doing one plus a Bible study, which is the least I've done in a while.
Right.
But they're ongoing. They're a little more, I'm more immersed. And so sometimes I'll think, I'm just going to go, I got this vast, archive, and so I'll say, Beth, I'm just going to take it easy this next month. I'm going to go grab an old series from about 15 years ago and I'm going to pull that thing up. I'm going to play that one and I'll pull it out and I look at it. And just on behalf of everybody I preached at, I just want to apologize. I look at it and I go, that is garbage. Why did anybody show up at any of those churches I pastored over the years and listen to that and not stone me to death because it was shallow or not developed enough or this or that.
Right.
And normally on a regular week, I can take 15 hours is what I need in a week to get my message ready. Now, that means I've already done a week-long retreat where I've done all my study. So average message is 30 hours, and I do my own PowerPoints. So I produce that as well on my side. 30 hours, okay? I go grab that thing. I'll just have a few hours. I'll clean it up. And I can spend almost 15 hours reworking a sermon so I can be happy to preach it again. I have to restudy it, rework it, and go, man, it was garbage. You were pitiful. And then you guys have to do sometimes the same songs because people like my wife want to hear, back in the day, she wanted to hear a Revelation song every Sunday. How do you do you rework the songs? Do you come out and do the song like you did? Do you push it to a new level? Do you ever get sick of it and go, man, that disgusts me? And how do you handle your stuff like that? Because for a pastor, it's a little different message. We don't sing the same song every week, but I know you guys don't always play it the same way either, or take it on the same way. Or how do you handle that going back to the well type stuff? I hate it.
I would say so yes, to answer your question.
Because people like a song, they want to hear it again and again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Yeah. There are songs in our repertoire that, we have overplayed. Like we just played them and played them and played them. And now we're like, okay, that one's run its course.
Do you ever challenge yourself in that song to do something different with it or different instrumentally? Yeah.
You can switch. So there's little things you can do. You can change the key. You can change, if it's usually a guy-led song, have a girl lead it, that kind of stuff.
Break it up a little bit.
Yeah. So I'd say we do that pretty often. Sometimes we'll just do like a chorus tag of a song.
Do you have to work to keep that fresh? Because even I get bored of my own stuff. You have to keep that song fresh. So it's still, because the worshiper there, they're coming in, they're meeting with God. They don't necessarily care whether that song was the 12th time they've heard it in a year. But what they're knowing is that song right now is penultimate to what's going on in their life. Bringing that song, bringing it fresh each time, putting your best into it. Like I said, that's a real challenge.
Yeah.
Do you do that? Are you just?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, like a song, it just has to be kind of speaking to me, I guess, in some way. Not that I'm like super analytical about picking songs, because I mean, sometimes I'm like, all right, Lord, like what do you want to do this week? What's going to flow well? And it's just like, but if it's a song that I just don't feel like God is speaking to me through, I'm just not going to do it.
Do you have songs you just hate? Do you just have songs that you did it one time and you go, shh, that thing's not going back in again? Come on.
We say those songs are dead to us.
They are? Do you do that? Do you do that?
Oh, yeah.
Do you do it? Is it like on the third time or you just do it like one time you go, I hate
Sometimes it's on the first time.
It's on the first time?
So true.
Yeah.
Flop.
Yeah, that was dead to me.
Yeah.
Or like Nathan and Chesney talked me into doing it, and I'm like,
And I think people need to hear
story.
that there is a challenge behind this and you working through those things. And I'm sure that's always that song you ripped out is the one I'm like, the pastor's like, I really like to hear that song again. You probably get more requests on those kind of songs than any other song just to irritate you.
You know what? It's interesting. Like we've said this in previous episodes, like Dustin and I are very different people and we have different preferences sometimes. And that's an interesting dynamic when like, I love a song. I'm like, can we please do this one? And like recently we're introducing a song in a few weeks and he's like, all right, yep, we will do it.
You got to give her one.
Yeah. Or like, it's not my favorite, but he really wants it.
And what you'll
it's
have,
great.
and if you see him right at the end of the service, go, that one's done.
Like, all right, Chelsea, you had your one.
Yeah.
I'll say it's rare. Like we more or less agree on stuff.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like, I don't want to say songs.
Nail it.
Center My Life, I don't love.
Yeah.
I don't love it. It's a Austin Stone song.
Is that an older
We
one?
love them.
Kind of.
We love you.
Years old, yeah.
We're not-
Is it
Years.
the Oh Christ?
Center my life on your name.
I don't know that one.
Jesus, there is none more beautiful.
I like it.
Just
Good song,
if
but-
you want to go to my Patreon right now and become a partner of ours, we'll remove that portion from our episode.
Copyright.
We'll take it. We'll take that out. All those comments will be
Sorry.
removed from the episode. Who's the writer of that song?
Austin Stone.
Yeah, Austin. We'll take that out. Just have your
Austin Stone. That's
have your people call my people.
He'll forgive
And
us.
Yeah.
Right.
He'll be like,
we love you.
You're right. I played that one too much too.
Yeah. Does that happen to you too, Ben? Does that happen to you to get songs that you just go, no, we're not doing that one again?
Yep. Yeah. I mean,
Or you're going to defer it to one of the other teams. Go like, that's a Shane Amanda song, or that's going to be Tracy.
No, well, I have a very, I always have a conversation. Like if I have,
We have different
usually I have
leaderships.
a co-leader, somebody with me, or I'll just have Shane and Amanda lead, and I'll support them from electric or something. But I always am like,
Are they married or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're a team like Donnie Marie.
We call them
But
Shannon.
Donnie Marie are
Shannon
brother and
Amanda.
sister. So it's,
But
So like
He's
that,
the
but
third-
not like
but
that.
not like that. But it's like Sonny and Cher, but not like Sonny and Cher because they weren't Christians.
like if it's Donna, I'm leading with that weekend, or if it's like this weekend, it's gonna be me, Haley, and Amanda. But I always like, hey, is there any songs that are speaking to you guys that you would like to lead?
Amanda's leading
And-
with you, but without Shane.
Shane's turkey hunting.
Oh my.
Oh my gosh.
I can't
He
blame
loves
him though.
the
I kind of wish
turkeys
I
more
kind of want to
than
just
me.
pawn it off on Amanda and Haley so I can go turkey hunting.
You should have gone.
Oh.
Gobble, gobble.
But yeah, I mean, I'm very open to that, and a lot of times they'll throw me, like Donna will throw me songs that I'm like, I've never heard this, but let's go for it. And if she's
Donna,
vibing on
did you
it
make
and
this
she's gonna
song?
lead it, yeah, it's like some like random old Israel song or something, you know. But I'm like, yeah, we'll go for it. And even if I don't jive with it, but they
Lead, you'll
they
support. Give that
feel
support.
passionate about it, and I'm like, okay.
So let me ask. This is a big question. One of the big questions that we're going to for this series here is: how have you seen in the last 10 years or so? You can go back farther if you want, but in the last 10 years, what's a big move or change, whether it be evolution or you may say it's devolution, going the wrong way,
Devolved. Yeah.
evolved. What is something major you've seen change in the culture of worship in the church? Something maybe that's evolved. One of our guests said recently, spontaneity. You saw no spontaneous
yeah.
worship before 2011, and now spontaneity and spontaneous worship is common in a lot of churches. Even churches are more mainline connected. They're doing spontaneous moments of worship, and we kind of attributed that back to some of the early movements of the House of Prayer and other things that. And then it was very outside the norm, but now it's kind of normal. It's almost like yeah. So what is something? Not you don't have to be in that track, but any track. What's something you've seen majorly evolve in the last 10 years or so in worship?
There's one thing that comes to mind. So, like gang vocals or like choir type things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I was
like
gonna say that too.
Charity Gale, her
Yeah.
recent album had
Has the big choir
a
behind
lot
her?
of people behind her. Yeah, kind of carrying the melody, and so the lead vocalist is freer to do ad libs and things.
They're
like
doing
that.
more weaving. You see that in the worship initiative a lot too. I see that. I'm big in that. I love that. And you'll see them singing, but the singer is weaving and bobbing and doing all this stuff, and everybody else is carrying the line.
Maverick City,
Yeah.
Elevation, like all of
Yes.
them have been doing stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it's something you would have seen more in. I grew up. I'm gonna give this away, but when I started getting my doctorate at Southern Methodist, my favorite church is the Potter's House, T.D. Jakes. So the black church was doing that a long time ago.
Oh, for sure.
Their choir was pulling it, and whose leads is just bobbing and weaving and ripping and running runs. You see that in R&B.
Oh, it
You
comes
see
from
that-
gospel,
It comes from gospel.
Oh,
no
yeah.
doubt. But it's kind. I totally agree to you. That is something you see much more today in the church total. A very big change.
It's cool too. I don't know. Remember if Dustin Griffith talked about that on the podcast, or if we were just having a conversation. But it's cool to see, like the black gospel and the apostolic choir and that type of music is really kind of blending with CCM.
We
and
did
we're
talk.
kind
No,
of
we
reaching
talked
this
about
like
we talked
happy.
about that in the episode.
Yeah, that's right. I
That-
couldn't remember if it was in the
That
episode.
you're
or
even
not,
seeing the CCM start to pick up some of that stuff,
Yeah.
like that. We saw that when was it We Are the World, We Are the Children. They kind of had the choir carrying that back in the day. You remember that, like Live Aid or something like that. But I do think it's become more of a norm in the church style. That which means you got a lot of people carrying melody, and then the leaders really just having a blast. Which is my favorite kind of music. So I think that's kind of cool. So hey, I expect I want one of those Sunday. I just want to see you go nuts. You know who?
You're gonna have to give me some banana nut bread.
We served banana nut bread to everybody on the staff this week because
With butter.
The week before I went crazy on it, and then I brought it up for them all.
That was a pregnancy.
I was going to add something to that. That answer. Excuse me. I do think that there has been a hunger in the church for more of the sense of the transcendent and the supernatural.
Yeah.
And because of that, the worship has gone to a more charismatic place across the board.
Across the board, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what church you're in right now, right?
Yeah. Because music helps facilitate that.
It was we said in one of the episodes. It's that sine and cosine wave. It creates the atmosphere which
Yeah.
can carry that experience.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Strips it down and makes it reachable. I think is a good word. You said breaks down walls and
100%.
barriers. That was another way you mentioned. So I totally agree with that, because you can walk in a church that may not operate as a Pentecostal style church today, but you wouldn't get that necessarily from the worship service.
Sure.
You may have to get deeper into it to find out theology or what's behind the scene or where they go with that. But the front of the service, that's why what's cool about these worship leaders, you can pull worship leaders from all kinds of trends today, and they can jam. Because I think that culture's there across the board. That's very well said. You add in spontaneous worship. Of course, you have to have that in this,
Right.
And that makes that opens that door to it. Let me ask you a different question. When you went into COVID's full bore. I mean, they said, please shut down right now for just 3 weeks, and when we get done with the 3 weeks, we'll be back open. Please kill all your worship services, or the health department of Williams County will come and help kill it for you. When they did all that, and we all shut down, and we love our health department. No, they are
Right.
good. Chris Kane, they're very generous to us. They've been very good to us. They've helped us, advise us. But when the governor shut them down, and we had to shut down, what did worship look like at Cornerstone? How did you guys go from having? I mean, you guys got like the Orange Bowl going there. You got a big church. You got all those people, and you can ride. You probably jump out and body surf across the crowd, and then all of a sudden, if you
All the
jump
time.
Yeah, all the time, of course, and then if you jumped out
Trying to
on,
quit.
but if you jumped out on that first Sunday of COVID, and you'd hurt stuff because there's no way to catch you. How did you?
It's true.
Or you would have caught COVID.
What changed?
One of those
What
options.
changed for you guys when you guys
no-win.
did you guys just shut down and quit? Did you go video? How did you bring it?
We converted the worship center into a studio. So we pulled all the chairs out, set up lights, and tried to create a different environment that would feel like it fit more in the living room where people are going to be consuming it. So, put out rugs and all that. Did some more intimate stuff with lighting, that kind of thing. And we recorded it. Now, the thing that sucked about that is that broadcast is so unforgiving. And so where you might be a little pitchy live and nobody would know or care, like it sticks out like a sore thumb on a video feed.
Oh yeah. And if you don't look, we changed sound and boards multiple times during it because we thought it was gonna be a couple of weeks, and then when we listened, it was like, oh my God, it's flat. You're not in the room. And then he started buying stuff, and somebody else came in and helped us with it. And then at one point in time, I said, just spend what you need to spend.
Sure.
And now, I'll be honest with you, our sound on the TV is better than our sound in the room.
Yeah.
Lucas, would you agree with that?
Sometimes.
Depends on who's mixing.
It rivals it.
If Lucas is mixing on both our house board, if Lucas is on both our house board and our TV board, I'm not knocking anybody else.
Right, not
But,
to-
I mean, look, Lucas is highly trained. He's
People
very-
they just don't know. They don't know what Lucas knows.
yeah.
Sure.
I mean, guy comes
Yeah.
comes from Bethel. I mean, guy's wicked. I mean, so listen,
Bethany.
Bethany, it's Bethany, not wicked, but good wicked.
Yeah. Glenda the Good Witch.
But
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
but he put it on my head. I was like, wow, we sound like it changed so much at home. I like listening to us now. But we were bad for a while.
So what did you do about
What'd you do?
I mean, so you want to interfere as little as possible. I mean, you have to do some. So we're asking our vocalists to be working on their pitch and this and that. But the thing that was so exhausting about it is that we would have so many takes that were almost good enough, and then have to do it again and then again, and people's voices and fingers, and it would get late, and so that was rough.
So did you do it and then do a playback and take a look at how it was?
Not most of the time. Sometimes we would if we were iffy on it. Most of the time we just knew. I biffed on this part. We need to redo
What's
it.
that?
Was Nathan not doing post production on the audio? Were you guys just recording it straight through and just leaving it?
We would do some post on it. Yeah, and sometimes we would. What is that like? What is it? Whenever you
Auto-tune?
Pitch correction?
put the takes together, like you cut and splice it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, just editing?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, see, Lucas
Editing.
auto-tunes me every week. I sound so much better when he does that. See what he's doing it right now? Yeah. No? Oh.
Yeah.
I want to be auto-tuned. I want to sound like the guy on the 7-Up cover. 7-Up. Ha, 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 ha. The
So
7-Up.
since we used the click, it was very consistent.
Oh,
we
yeah.
were
Yeah, you're on
able to
grid.
kind
Boom,
of
boom,
cut
boom.
and paste some
Yeah.
stuff together.
Yeah, I hate to tell you, we just went live and just hated it. We either loved it or hated it later. Like that TV show, Love It or Hate It. Do you like the house? And then we just kind of fixed it over the weeks. I mean, we just,
Yeah.
yeah, it was tough. I mean,
And there's things you can
right.
do. I mean, you get a mixed template like like we got. And
we went live with it too. We went live. We went live stream, with all the good, the bad, and the ugly, didn't we? Yeah, we should. There are a few we taped, like when you did the tape, and when we had COVID, we did a few of those. And we did a couple, like the one Sunday we wanted to all be gone. I swore everybody to secret. We came in and shot it all like Tuesday.
Yeah,
shot the whole thing on Tuesday, and it was like right before it was over. We said we all need a week off, and so we all took a week off. Yeah. So we came in and shot the service, shot another one, and he put it in the box, and then we just executed it and had our people run it. But I wish we could do that next Sunday, but we can't get away with that.
For Easter.
That's one thing I'll miss is the fact we literally. So you guys actually you put it together, then you pick a time to broadcast it out at your regular time.
Yeah.
Did you guys have people actively responding to you and talking during the service, interacting? Did you do some interaction with chat or anything like that during service?
We did have that. I was not involved in it at all. Okay. Neither was Chesney.
No. Yeah.
So.
Well, it's a real challenge. Now, what would be the challenge post-COVID? I think when I talk to all the pastors, I did a series called Pastoring in 2020 Beyond. I haven't had Michael in yet. I am going to get Michael and Caroline. They've told me they'll come in and do one. I've got a couple more pastors. I'm going to do another part of this in season 2, where I've just talked to them about what the church looked like before COVID, through COVID, and then what's really changing in the culture ahead. Because every pastor sees clear things that will never be the same again. There are a few things that are moving back toward normalcy, but there's some things that because of what we did will never be the same again. We will always probably in the future have some version of live stream that'll be a much more quality than just a ping pong camera in the back.
That's right.
It'll be just as good because we've got people watching us in Thailand and Africa and Michigan. We got people in the Upper Peninsula that don't have a church locally that picked us up from the past. And we've got people that just can't get here. They're shut-ins or lock-ins. And how do you go back to having one camera way back there and I look like a ball going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth? They're used to being connected.
Yeah, why would you? I mean, now that you have leveled up your production values and you've got the people who can do it, like, why would you step back from
That's a good question. And just to throw you in the breach, like I said before we talked, when we got on the other side of COVID, we went into a leadership meeting and I said, well, we're over. We're going to get back into regular stuff. They said, yeah, Cornerstone's going to shut their feed down and they're going to just go back to making people come or else. And I thought, I can't believe that.
We're mean.
Yeah, you're mean.
Oh,
yeah. Well, no. They had
but that's what they said.
The divine call of God was that your pastor wanted to make sure everybody came back to normal reality and had a normal relationship. And I looked at the elder and the former elder, and I said, I wish that too. I want everybody to come back and get back in the flow again. But the problem is, everybody can't get in the flow again. Some people are shut down. They're locked down. They still got heart issues. They want to watch this thing a little bit more. And we've just connected with people that are at school now, that they're here or there. Are we going to just shut this off? So, well, they're doing it, so we should do it. And I said, well, we're not going to do that. That's just something I'm doing. And then I ran into one of your leaders, and I said the next day, I said at coffee shop, say, are you doing this? Oh, no, it was somebody threw that out. No, we would never change. You can't. And the word was you can't go back. And that's exactly what you're saying. You can't go back. People want to go back. There's a lot of people that wanted to go back with Moses and go back to Egypt, but you can't go back. I think that's something we don't go back on. What are other changes you're seeing since COVID that you don't think that are different? Maybe they're better. Maybe.
I think we want to be responsible for how we know people are utilizing the online service.
Yeah.
So we know that some people are utilizing it from a place of need, like you talked about, people who are shut-ins or things like that.
They're away on vacation.
Yeah, on vacation, right? Yeah. There are those people. There are some people who are using it as an entree to involvement in your church. Right. It's a first step toward.
They go look at your church and go, man, I can see me being here.
Right.
That's what you want.
Exactly.
That's right. Yeah.
And so, those are great things. There are also people who are using it in an apathetic way.
Yeah, we have 17 of those in our church. They have gotten so used to wearing their pajama pants, they can no longer buckle their pants properly. And they can't get their foot in a real pair of shoes because they've been wearing their flip-flops.
That's why we have
long.
Occupational therapists.
Right. Yeah. So you're saying you want to be careful that somebody's not doing it because they're just so introverted and lazy.
So, exactly. So how do we, knowing that that's the case, how do we use the tool in a way that helps the people who need help, but doesn't enable the people who are using it really to stay in this sort of like apathetic place in terms of how they're engaging with the church?
Because the church, and thank God for Christian television, they're out there for people, but God didn't call me to be a Christian television evangelist.
Right.
And probably you guys to be Christian television worship leaders. He called us to be a part of the local church. The local church is people that gather together and do not forsake the assembling. And you can define that a lot of ways.
Sure.
Yeah. So re-engaging people in a way that they want to be a part of community again and give and share.
I think one of the conversations that Michael and I had around this as we collaborated on worship gatherings was that we kept turning over this idea of like having some things that you could only do in the building.
Agreed. No, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, right. So you can participate to a certain degree, but then there are some things that you just we're not gonna offer online.
So Michael's going to be so mean that he wouldn't go to the house and baptize them in their own bathtub, basically.
Yes.
Okay, me too.
We stopped doing that.
Well, I come into agreement with that. We're not going to go to their personal bathtub and do that. No, we're not going to send them home three Easter eggs so they can let their kid look at the Easter egg in their backyard or find them in their houseplants.
Okay.
They're going to need to come to the church to get Easter
We need
eggs.
to nix that.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, nix that. So, I mean, there's one thing to provide people to stay connected because of need or circumstances. Another thing to enable people to be disconnected.
Well, and I think something that I'm sorry. Okay.
Go ahead.
No, go.
I think something that happened to like a shift that I noticed, and I think Dustin, you said this, like we want to make it to where like they want to be there.
You want to come.
You know, like
I miss my family.
Yeah, and like you're having this moment in worship
They
that
can
whenever
sense
you're yes, they can sense it through their TV. They're like, I want to be there.
Something's
you know?
going on there.
You can't get everything. I'll
That's
tell you
right.
what. I've been. I'm gonna go back to Jake's a minute ago. I was at a pastor's conference years ago. I used to be in his whole Aaron's Army thing. I was there at a pastor's conference that it was electrifying. I mean,
Yes.
the preaching, the worship.
Yes.
Oh, I could feel buzzing on my body. It's like, man, the room's ecstatic.
Yeah.
And the message was killer. I brought that message back for my staff to listen to. The message was good, but they didn't get the hair didn't stand up. It wasn't ecstatic.
There wasn't the manifest presence in the way
That's-
that there was
Yeah.
in the gathering.
Quality message,
Yes.
quality experience, but it wasn't that's a good word.
And even the people who do streaming the best, like the most flawless streaming you can think of, like a Bethel church or something. Like I love their streams. I went to Bethel in July, and it's like,
What?
how is it better? It's like there's something happening that's like, and it's it's got the Holy Spirit. It's like it's just you can get something, but you're gonna
If you're home trapped and you haven't gotten back
Yeah.
in church yet, we're just telling you, you're getting a 2D version of it, not the 3D version, or maybe the 4D because there's a Holy Ghost, a whole fourth thing that comes
on with
in.
that,
And I think that's what people will miss. And I think people got used to the other. It was kind of tame, and they could
Yeah.
get Cheerios and go to the next one, and go. But get back in, feel the power of God again in the service, and even watching your brother over there worship, or your sister over there worship, there's connection there.
Yeah, and don't be fooled. Don't allow yourself to be fooled into thinking that it is the 3D or 4D version, because it is not.
It's not. You can't.
Yeah.
Because what's bad was the denomination I was in at the time. I was the chairperson of evangelism, so I brought all these pastors in, and we shared the Jake's message. It was powerful enough that people in the room were crying, but they came from such stone dead churches that Jake's on a TV at 60% was better than anything they had heard at 100%.
Sure.
But but the worship was just not there. We did live worship in the room, and that helped set that up. So you're just missing something, I think. And I do think it's good that people can go on vacation, stay connected to a series.
That's right.
They can check their church out. If they're shut in for a while, they're in recovery, at least they're connected, because maybe they can't handle 3-4D right now. But as soon as you can get back in the water, get back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably the best answer I've heard on this. Let me. Okay, let's see how I'm doing here. I'm getting close to done. Oh, we're at 48 minutes. Great. Great. Yeah. Thank you for staying with us. We appreciate you. The video stream we talked about. What are the biggest challenges and changes you see coming in these next 5-10 years? What do you think is going to evolve? What's the big movement? Tell me where I need to buy stock in something. I want you to foretell something. I should have bought Bitcoin, 5-10 years ago. A guy today, they had Bitcoin conference someplace, and it's going to be 30x, 100x bigger, but I'd like to have been at the first X. So what is something in worship you think you're going to see a next evolution, or you're starting to see it already, you're getting ready for it? What would you say that would be? Next step. What is something you're planning for that in a year and a half, 2 years from now, bam, we're going to bring this, because we're trying to get the idea from you first, and we're going to beat you to it. No. What is something? Where is worship going to go? What do you think?
I don't think this is new, but I do think that it's growing in emphasis. That spiritual power in worship, it's going to be so important.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the place that we're in is we're on a track toward more and more pressure being applied to the people of God. And it's going to take supernatural power to stand up, live it out as it increases, as the heat.
On the outside,
Yeah,
you're going to have counter pressure on the inside.
that's I love that.
So we're almost. I'm a cook by my chef by old background, but they have a thing called like a pressure kettle. You know, and you put the heat on the outside, but they're locked down so it can maintain on the inside. If you blow that thing off without letting the steam come off it, it'll just explode like a bomb.
Yeah.
You know, so you think there's going to have to be a counter pressure in worship,
Yes.
a spiritual igniting in there to sustain the, or we're going to be like a submarine going too deep and just get crushed. You know, to do that, you're going to have to reverse that pressure.
Amen.
Yeah.
I love that picture. And I think that
love that too.
that a thing that is so key to that
I like that.
is a pursuit of holiness. Holiness when nobody's looking.
When nobody's looking.
When nobody is looking, because man, we can lead from a superficial place, but superficial doesn't do supernatural.
Golly.
And so we have to take up the mantle, all that it means as worship leaders, knowing that like there is a real battle function of what we do. We see that even literally in the scriptures. And part of that means that we take our holiness so seriously all the time. And we take the holiness of our team so seriously in cultivating that. And Lord, help me to lead this group of people in that, because we need to be ready. We need to be at a place where you can pour out.
And that's at the self level, at the team level, you're saying?
Yeah.
And even that translates into the church eventually.
Yeah.
That I mean, the superficial does not do supernatural.
That's good.
I mean, that's really rich. I mean, I think that's right on. You're going to have it real. I mean, I think that may be one of the best things I've heard in this whole process so far.
Yeah, it's
Well,
good.
I think people feel it too. I mean, in Southern Illinois, it's like the water that we swim in, and it's just like there's a church on every corner. A lot of people have grown up in a church, or at least around it.
They've been to half of our churches. They've flowed through there. Family goes through there.
Yeah.
Right.
And they want something more, and some people don't know how to get there. You know, and anyway.
there is a huge resistance though to the pursuit of holiness you're talking about, because to do that, you've got to live out the text. You got to live out the Bible that we live out, and that's got to flourish. And we live in a culture that's very counter to that. And if it's not careful, that comes inside the walls of the church, and it almost becomes a secondary. We've got the resistance of the world against us, but then we have the resistance of those that think we should conform to the world versus maintain and be strong and courageous to God. So you got people saying, yeah, the world's tough, but yeah, give into it, you know, kind of, we need to coexist. You know, you see that coexist, you know, and then, but we really, what God is saying is stand for me and I'll stand for you, you know, and let me stand before you, you know, like Moses standing before the water, and the water was there, and he's got the whole people of Israel back there. And God just says, walk down there and lift your hands, and boom, it opens up. We don't realize, we forget that we have a God that opens the waters, you know. We have a God that three guys were told to bow, and they said, nope, not going to do it. And they said, throw them in the fire. They said, we'd rather go in the fire than bow to you. They went in the fire, and they found out there was another dancing in the fire with them. And they came out not even smelling like smoke. I can never barbecue here and not smell like smoke. To me, that's a supernatural. No.
Right.
You get a smoker next to you, and you get cigarette smoke smelling on you. I go, honey, I didn't smoke. I didn't really smoke. I was just next to somebody. You know, but these guys came out of the fire and didn't even smell like smoke. If we could just trust God at that level, man, we could counter this resistance with something that could change the world.
Yeah.
I think that's so good. That's very powerful. Gosh, I don't know how I'm going to make this transition to the frog. I got to get the frog in before we get out of this
I
thing.
wanna
Here,
know.
We have to.
okay, yeah, I've got to, because I've mentioned the frog, or people will be mad. Okay, well, we're going to come down a little level, and as pastors and worship leaders, one of the biggest challenges we deal with each week is ourselves. We battle with, did we do well enough? Did we honor God well enough? Did I give him my best? And I don't think a lot of people realize most preachers, most worship leaders, most musicians, we're really harder on ourselves than most people are. But that doesn't mean it's easy to deal with people piling on our own inadequacies. You know what I'm saying? And so my closing question in this is, how do you take on the critics? And how do you take on people that are just kind of, working at you? And so that you will understand what I mean by critics, there's only one standard for that, and that's the green guy and his show. How do you handle these guys?
Bravo! I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good,
It
though.
could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away.
Hey, boo!
Boo!
Now, I realize the green guy wasn't shown, but it is the Muppet Show.
He's implied.
Muppet Show.
Yeah.
He's implied.
He's implied.
Yeah.
Kermit is implied.
I mean, we all have times where those guys show up in our church. We know which pew they're in. We know where they're at. And they seem to know when to catch us at our vulnerable moments. You've come off the platform. You've emptied yourself.
Yeah.
You're exhausted. They don't know that your
yeah.
kid had fever last night. They don't know that your wife is struggling with something. They don't know that you lost somebody. They don't really even care. That you've got those certain people that just go, man, they look like their yoke's down. I've got to get them now. And we know that was these famous guys from the Muppets. We know it was Statler and Waldorf. They're very famous for that. The reason that didn't move, I was afraid they'd shut us down. So I did the static picture with the audio, and it'll beat the Facebook people. All right. So how do you deal with those kind of critical people in your ministry so that you don't let them pull you down? Because I think there's a lot of worship people, a lot of people that need to hear that. How do you, because you guys haven't gotten accidentally to the level you are at. You're at the top level right now in our region as far as churches. You guys are at the top of the echelon. But I also know this, it means you have more Muppet guys. You have more Statlers and Waldorfs than I do. And my two drive me nuts. But at the same time, I have two, you may have a section. How do you deal with those people and love them with the love of the Lord, and at the same time make sure that doesn't bring you down, Bruce?
I'm gonna let Dustin take this one because
gosh.
he's the head honcho, and I think he gets more of it than I do probably.
I have had a handful of these guys, and and I've dealt with it differently over time. The Lord has used it to grow me and teach me. So I used to get really hurt, and I'm not going to say it doesn't hurt anymore.
It does. We can be strong. 35 years. There's just a time when, even if you're strong, there's a time when you're the most vulnerable, and that's when it's easy to pierce you. They can find that moment, the one chink in the armor.
Yeah.
And for people that are listening as he answers this, it's a lot of things. It's not that they pick on you. And just let me give you that. It could be like your song selection. Hate that song. Song's too loud. Song's too short. Song's too fast. Oh, I hate that song. I wish more drums. The haze makes me sick. I don't know why you use that haze in the room. It can be lots of things. I like your hair. Your hair's too long. I don't know what you're doing. What's with the gel stuff? And and the jeans are too tight. It can be anything. Yeah. And we all know how do you handle it?
So there are critics that are just mean-spirited, and so I usually engage a conversation with the person. I usually do, and in that conversation, I can discern a bit about where their criticism is coming from.
Right?
Is it just a mean-spirited kind of thing, or are they zealous for the Lord, and they have a different perspective from me?
It could be constructive. It could be something you could use.
In which case, I really need to know why I'm making the choice that I'm making that they disagree with.
Right.
And so it can be kind of helpful.
Yeah, every now and then, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
There was a guy who did not understand why we used lights and why we use some of the production factors that we use.
That haze is like a gas. When it comes down, I have nose running all week. I
Yes.
said, people, it's just water.
Well, they think so.
It's just water.
So
No, it's chemical warfare. I'm sorry.
Oh man, I'm glad you said that. So I understand why people have an issue with it, because the place that we most often see these production values are in secular concert venues where it's all
They
about
pay a
the
lot of
show.
money. They don't gripe at all.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I
That's
love
true.
it.
It's true, but it is about a show and it's about entertainment, and that's fine. That's fine. But then they think that in the church when they see that's what it's about, and it's not.
Yes.
So, but I understand why they think that.
Right.
So let's talk about it. So this is a very real conversation that I had. Whenever we look into the Old Testament and we see the instructions that the Lord Himself gave for the tabernacle. It was all of this gold and flourish.
It was
and,
amazing.
And purple and scarlet threads, and it was embellished. And there was something about the environment itself that was colorful, that was supposed to suggest to you that this place is special.
Reserved, exotic, top level.
Yes, it was supposed to engage the senses. There were colors, there were pictures, there were all of these things. And
Purple was the most difficult color to dye. It was exclusively difficult to get. So it was luxurious.
there we go. There we go. So you have that, right? And that is from God.
Right.
About how He is saying this space is to be designed. We know that light is God's idea, that color is His idea.
Oh, yeah.
And whenever we harness all these things and we're pointing them in the same direction at engaging the senses
Right.
and glorifying Him, it's a beautiful thing. Now, this guy had never thought of it that way.
That's right. And every vision you see a prophet have is standing before the throne of God. It's magnificently overwhelming.
brilliant.
And I got news. We're going to stand there for the rest of our eternity. So we're trying to get people ready to go. Get in that mind frame. We're in the kingdom now. The kingdom is at hand.
Now, can you have lights going on and it be all about show and it be shallow and all that? 100%.
Absolutely.
You can.
Absolutely.
You can. And I want people to be sensitive to that. I don't want that. But I want them to be.
But to create an experience
Yeah.
that's transformative, that causes that transcendent moment, you can do that using the gifts that God gave us. God gave us that ability to do that.
So the point with this particular conversation with this gentleman was, I knew why. He had a criticism, and I had a why to give him, and so it kind of transformed his perspective. Now there are sometimes I don't know the why. I've got to take their feedback and say, is there anything true about what they're saying, and why do I do this, or why did we do that, or why? And if I don't know, I need to spend some time asking myself that, and working on that with the Lord, asking the Lord about it. And I can even tell this gentleman that, like, hey, you know what? I don't know why.
Yeah.
And that's a decent question. And there are things that I come across like this I don't have a good answer to, and I need to spend some time with the Lord about it.
And sometimes somebody's just plain mean. They're just picking on everybody.
That's right.
And they sit up at the top like that. You have that, and you determine that very quick.
And once I know that, then
you can shut it down.
yeah. Well, I just sort of like give it to the Lord, and I'm like, eh.
I had people one time that got on this kick. About the loudness of our sanctuary service.
Sure.
You know, the decibels of it.
Sure.
And I got following these people on Facebook.
I already know where this is going. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I began to look at the shows they went to at Branson.
Yeah.
And they would come back saying, we went to 3 of them today. We went to the shows they went to at Branson. We went and checked them out. Do you know what the decibels were at those shows?
Right.
And they have pictures of them smiling and the best day of their life. And I'm thinking, we're 30 decibels below that.
Yeah.
And
How
you
does
didn't
that
say,
connect?
how does that connect? It's funny how people pay this money to go to a concert and they'll just get blown away by the haze or this or that. But then do they want the church? I'm not saying we got to kill you with your ears, but do they want us to be less of an experience?
That's right. We should be more exuberant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it should have value to it. And it's kind of funny, the ones that gripe about it, they'll be very quick to go do something that'll be a lot louder, a lot different, or this or that. It's just people kind of get carried away with it. I think one of the maturities is that is you learn how to process that through. And I think you've shared a very healthy way to.
good.
It's a chance for reflection. It's a chance to examine yourself. Is this my problem? Is this something I learn, or is this something that's really their problem? And they're just projecting.
Yeah.
You know, and when they teach you in pastoral psychology, you got to learn very quick, is it your stuff or their stuff? Is it, and they call that transference, whether is it me or they transferring their garbage on me, or are they mad because their boss was mean at work and they're mad at their wife and they're taking her stuff, putting it there and then here, and they really just need somebody to love on them and love them through it. And I think that's good to stop and listen.
Or they were at another church where the worship leader was, I don't know, egotistical or whatever and all about himself, and they just assume. that's you.
Yeah. I think these are all good things, and we're going to get out of this. But I think what's been really good is what you guys bring to the table is just a wealth of experience of what you're doing each and every week, and the leadership you're given in our community, not just at the worship level, but your church gives in the community as a service organization to the community, and the leadership is great. And I think a lot of pastors out there, worship leaders, Christians out there need to be listening to that and just kind of think through the process. Because what I've learned really carefully is you guys are very intentional about the pursuit of holiness and excellence and bringing people to the throne of God. It's been a real privilege to hear these guys.
100%.
And you guys don't get rattled. I guess we're going to try to inspire to be more like you guys, me and Ben.
Oh, good.
You want to do it? We want to be like them? We want to be like them.
I gotta call something out
Yeah.
about y'all.
Yeah.
You have been such a blessing to me because you have been passionate about seeing unity in the body of Christ.
Amen. Yeah, I want to see it.
And you've put that in motion.
Yeah.
And like this conversation, this whole podcast series you've been doing is evidence of that. And I see that all over the place. And that is something the Lord is doing. And I see you taking action on it in a way that not many others are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think the pressure cooker thing I think as we've got incredible gifts in this region, and I think we're going to have to get in that pot together and hold each other's back and let the gates of hell not prevail against the church in this region.
Yeah.
And I don't see a difference between somebody getting saved at Cornerstone and getting saved here. I'm perfectly content for us to do an event out there, and if Dustin, if they love your music or they love Michael's preaching, I want them to go there and get on fire for kingdom. I think it's the best chance we have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just got back today. One of my best friends, he's a buddy that I'm mentoring in the New Church Starts. He's up in one of the regions. He's been on the show. They have their vehicle. They pick a lot of people up. And he was working on my hair, and he said, "Hey, our van's down. Could you be praying for us? Do you know one?" I said, "I don't know where to get you a van, but we have 3 that aren't in use. Come get the keys, give it back when you're done." So we went and got it today, and they've been using it to get their people to church. And I tell everybody, what is ours is yours. Because when people tithe here, it's to the house of God. And that includes whether it's Cornerstone family or this family or that family. And when I stand before God, I want to know that I help my fellow Levites out. And I think the best thing we can do to bring revival is us press in together and let God shine.
We can't afford this spirit of like rivalry.
No, man.
No,
churches
we cannot afford it.
Totally.
We've got to pursue holiness, and we got to do it as Levites. I mean, you guys are Levites, and the Levite family has got to stick together. And if we do that, the gates of hell cannot prevail against us. You know, and it's not just my local church or your local church; it's His church.
Amen.
Yeah.
Just
It's
like you
not
said
on us.
early on, being vulnerable, we got to open our heart up. That we got to do that. We've got to demonstrate that. I think if we do that, we'll see a transformation in the church. Your church demonstrates that. I've just never seen anything less than that. And just my blessing. Hey, if you guys are out there, Cornerstone meets at 6:15 on Fridays, 9:15 on Sundays, 11 o'clock. Also on Sundays, get out there, enjoy worship with these guys. They are a blessing. Check out the web links online, email, Facebook. Donna will get that in the show notes as well. You'll be able to see that. Get there to worship with them. You're going to have a great experience. So, guys, again, thank you so much. Ben, thank you for joining us in this episode. Chesney, thank you very much for just sharing and keeping things straight and the work you're doing at Cornerstone. We appreciate it. Dustin, incredible leadership, and you're doing a great job, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate your partnership in the kingdom. Please give Michael and Carol Ann my blessings and tell them that we're excited about what you guys are doing. So we're with you guys. At some point in time, we just may come hang out at your place.
Oh, same.
We'd be if everything falls
Come
apart
hang
here.
out.
If it all falls apart here and we can't maintain this, we'll fight our way back out from your parking lot. Same here, though. Anything we have is yours. Hope you enjoyed this today. It's a long episode, but that's okay. On the doc.org, you can stop and pause and watch it later. You can go in and get your hair cut, go get your groceries, come back out and start it back up again. I did that 3 times a day on one podcast.
You can do double speed too.
You can do.
Yeah.
I have never tried that.
yeah.
I got to learn to do that.
Although you talk pretty fast.
Yeah,
so I'd
that
be
would
like,
be an issue.
Really fast.
I would be say that, boy, because you're a talk. On the doc.org, info at onthedoc.org is our email, and you can watch us on 8 platforms. We want you to get on YouTube and hit subscribe, like, notify, go to iTunes, Spotify, all of our other ones, and avoid Facebook. We love you, Facebook, but we don't want to be in jail. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Telegram, and Getter. Social media, hit subscribe, like, notify, comments, and all those things, to be a Patreon sponsor. And yes, what was that artist again that needs calls? The artist for the song?
Austin Stone.
Yeah, your people.
Austin,
If your people call us, we'll cut this out here as well, and you'll become our big Patreon sponsor right here, or that. We love you, Patreon sponsor partner. And also, if you can't get in the parking lot of their church because they have so many people coming, and you just can't find a place, you can use us as a second one. We're like the Motel 6 next to them. Yes, Community Faith Church, 10 o'clock on Sundays, Wednesdays at 6:30. COFTV.com. You can watch us there. You can check it out, and we'd love to have you as well. But just get in church, get out in church, get the pajamas off, go back to church. It's all good. Been good to have you guys again. Thank you guys
Or
very
come
much.
in your pajamas.
Come in your pajamas. Hey,
I do.
We're not judging.
Hey, let me just tell you, there's a lot of people that go to Walmart in their pajamas. They do. It could get your building confused. They do. I cannot believe it. Please put clothes on. Don't go to Walmart in your pajamas. I hate that. But we love you with the love of the Lord. God bless. Thanks for joining us on this podcast, and watch for more coming up very soon on The Dock. I'm Pastor Troy.
As each night breaks into morning, gentle mercy beckons me. For I put my hands to labor, set my mind on Calvary. Look to Jesus, suffering servant, God in flesh, the perfect man. For the joy that was before him, laid his life down as the lamb. Jesus Christ, my hope of glory, sure foundation of my life. In the race that's set before me, I press on to gain the prize. When temptation's snare has seized me, I will cling to Christ and creed, free from sin's dark gravitation. By his death upon the tree, final breath cried, it is finished, settled for eternity. On the third day resurrected, he secured my victory. Oh, Jesus Christ, my hope of glory, sure foundation of my life. In the race that's set before me, I press on to gain the prize. When the final night has broken, shines the kingdom of the sun. Oh, the highest commendation when we hear him say, well done. In the presence of the author and perfecter of our faith, we will shout our testimony. You have kept us all the way. Jesus Christ, my hope of glory, sure foundation of my life. In the race that's set before me, I press on to gain the prize. Jesus Christ, my hope of glory, sure foundation of my life. In the race that's set before me, I press on to gain the prize. on to gain the prize. I press on